بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. I'm back with another video on very interesting and important topic, and that is the passive. It is also known as active and passive voice, and most of the students do find difficulty in learning this topic. So today I have decided to explore and study this topic, and this is part 1. Don't forget to watch it. I will discuss this topic in 3 different videos, so don't forget to watch all the videos. Okay, so before learning how we can convert active structures into passive, it is very important to know why do we need passive structures, right? As you can see on the screens right in front of you, that I have listed down some of the reasons that why do we need passive structure, or where do we need use passive structure in our daily life conversations or writing. So here is number 1 rule, or you can say number 1 use of passive, that when the actor is unknown, like we don't know the subject. So for example, the cave paintings were made in the upper old stone age. In this line you can see the writer does not know about who made them, who made the paintings actually, right? Okay, another use of passive structure is when the actor is irrelevant, right? We don't want to mention the actor. For example, an experimental solar power plant will be built in the Australian desert. So we are not, interested, or we are least interested in that, like who is building it. Okay. So another use of passive structure is that you want to be vague about who is responsible, right? You don't want to mention about who is responsible because of any reason. For example, mistakes were made. So such types of writing are common in bureaucratic writing, or you can say where we don't want to mention that who is responsible for particular kind of action. Now let's move to another slide. Okay, so another use of passive structure is that you are talking about a general kind of truth, right? For example, rules are made to be broken. So, we are least bothered by whomever or whenever, the rules are, or this quote or the saying is said, right? So we are talking about some general kind of truth, then we need, passive kind of structures, right? Okay, so another very important use of passive structure is that when you want to emphasize, when you want to stress the person or thing acted on. And what is that actually? An object, right? What is the definition of an object? That upon which the action is done, right? So when we are, we want to stress, or when we want to emphasize more on the object, then we need a passive structure, right? You want to focus on the object rather than the subject of the sentence, then we need passive structure. For example, insulin was first discovered in 1921 by researchers at the University of Toronto. It is still the only treatment available for diabetes, right? So in this, our focus is on the object, and that is insulin. So as you can see in the example, the passive structure has been followed. Okay, and last but not the least, a use of passive structure is when you are writing in a scientific genre, or a scientific concept that traditionally depends on passive voice. For example, passive voice is often preferred in lab reports and scientific research papers, most notably in the material and methods action section. You must have read and observed passive structure in your science books. For example, the sodium hydroxide was dissolved in water. This solution was then titrated with hydrochloric acid. You can see in this example that the passive structure has been followed, right? When your focus is on the object and the subject is unknown, or you don't want to mention the actor, as I told you earlier in the previous slide, right? I hope now the use or the need of the passive structure will be clearer to you. Okay, so we all know that there are three types of tenses, that is present, past, and future, right? So this video is, all about the present tense, like how we can convert active structures given in present tense into passive voice, right? And then I will discuss past and future in my next upcoming videos, right? So you have to watch this video completely. Okay, as we all know that each tense is further divided into four types. Like for example, present tense is divided further into four types, like present indefinite tense, continuous tense, perfect tense, and perfect continuous tense. So now we are going to discuss each one by one, that how active structures given in indefinite tense or continuous and perfect tense will be converted into passive voice. If you look at the screen, all right, there is basic structure of passive voice given. So before understanding the structure of passive voice, we also need to recall the structure of active voice. And we all know that regular English sentence contains of or consists of these three main things, like subject, verb, and object. And this is the order of a sentence as well, of active structures as well, that first there is a subject, it is followed by a verb, then it is followed by an object, as you can see right in front of you on the screen, that for example, he kills a snake. So this is an active structure in present indefinite tense. And how you will convert into passive? First you have to see the structure of the passive voice, that is object, then there is a third form of verb, then there is by plus subject. So as you can see that the subject is shifted to the end of the sentence, and the object is shifted into the beginning of the sentence. So the same sentence, he kills a snake, will be converted into passive, like a snake is killed by him, right? So this is the basic structure of the passive voice, that first there is an object, then it is followed by third form of verb, and then by, and then subject. Okay, as you can see, if the active voice is in present indefinite tense, then it will be converted into passive voice like this. For example, he receives a letter. So this is a sentence in active voice, and we will convert into passive voice by adopting the helping verb of present continuous tense, that is am or, right? A letter, that is was the object, will come in the beginning of the sentence, and it will be followed by the verb received, that is the third form, and then by, and then the subject, he will be converted into him. So how will you read the whole sentence? Like, our letter is received by him, right? So this is how we convert a simple present tense into a passive voice. Okay, so now if you look at this slide, you can see if the active, structure is given in present continuous tense. For example, he is receiving a letter, right? So then you will convert it into passive. How? You will add a word being, before the third form of verb. Like, for example, a letter is being received by him. Similarly, if the subject is plural, you will write are, right? Are being, received by him or them, right? Similarly, if there is a first pronoun like I, you will add am. Okay, so this is how you will convert active voice given in continuous tense into passive by adding a word being, along with the helping verb is before the third form of verb. Okay, so now if you look at this slide, if the active voice is given in present perfect tense, like there is a use of has or have plus third form of where, then you will convert it into passive by adding a word been, right? For example, if the active voice is given in present perfect tense, she has cooked the food. So in this tense, she is the subject, cooked is the verb, and the food is the object. So the food will be, replaced by the subject, and it will appear in the beginning of the sentence, like the food has been cooked by her. She will be changed into her. So this is how you convert present perfect active structures into passive voice. Like this, you have to add word been after has, and the rest of the rules will be followed same. Like there will be third form, then there will be word by, and then there will be the subject. So this is how you convert different sentences given in active voice in present tense into their passive structures by following these rules. That's all for today. I hope you enjoyed today's lecture, and if you have any kind of suggestions or queries, you can mention them in the comment section. I would be very pleased to know about them. And don't forget to watch the upcoming videos. Stay blessed.